Greetings and welcome to another Blade and Soul video. This time I am going to talk about the Kung Fu Master and my tips for leveling one and my tips and what I figured out so far for the endgame in terms of PvE. If you're looking for PvP guys, I really can't help you. I don't particularly enjoy it, I never have. So you might want to look somewhere else. So anyway, right now we're going to go into the tips for leveling up and looking at the skills. And if you're looking for the endgame PvE guide, click on the link or somewhere on the screen, somewhere it is. I put the link to the end of the video and you can go there. So anyway, if you're still here, it's because you're going to level a Kung Fu Master and you want to know what you would need to do. So anyway, let's head over to the skills, and here we go. So at around level 17 or 18, you're going to finally get the, let's just call them talent points for now, and you're going to wonder where the hell you're going to put them to make your leveling easier. So anyway, what most people recommend is going into Swift Strike and leveling it up into Tiger Strike. Now this turns it into a 2x3 AoE that does fire damage, and it does a very decent amount of it. And not only that, but it also heals you for 10% of the damage dealt. And on hit readies another ability called Hellfire Kick that also does a very decent amount of damage. So that's definitely one way to go. If you don't think you're going to be doing a lot of AoE, you can instead put it into Swift Strike, which upon a critical restores all the focus you use for it. So that is one way you can go. Now if you're having problems, say, keeping your health up, you might want to consider inputting 3 points into Grapple and going down this way. If you put it here, every time you grapple somebody, you will heal every time you deal damage to them. Up to a maximum of 6 times, that is, grappling them using your left mouse button 3 times to hit them 3 times, and then activating your pummel, which is number 2, which will hit them another 3 times. So as you can see right there, you will recover 3% HP whenever you hit them, for a total of between 15 and 18 of your health healed up. And while leveling up, that is definitely something. You do that every other mob and you will never have health problems. So other than that, what else can we do? If you want to kill things extremely fast, you have 2 ways to go. You can either go with Cyclone Kick here, which readies upon a critical Swift Strike or Tiger Strike upon resisting something with dash left to right, or after Shin Kick, which you probably don't want to grab while leveling. It really isn't that particularly useful, but that's one way. And because it requires a critical, and while leveling you don't have that much, you may want to go another route. So you might want to go with Comet Strike. If you go down this way, it will be an instant cast with a 45-second cooldown, and it does quite a bit of damage. And if it happens to crit, you can cast another one instantly within 1 second. So you can kill several mobs in 1 or 2 seconds using this, every 45 seconds or so. And so far, now if you want to go with the emergency healing route, you can put 2 into Rising Dragon, which will turn it into recover 10% of your HP whenever it hits an enemy. And it also recovers 10% of the damage dealt, but it really does a very insignificant amount of damage, so yeah. So if you're leveling up, those are what some of the things you can do as you're leveling up. Another way you can go, finally, is to use Flurry. As you can see, going down this route, it'll heal you for 25% of the damage dealt. It really isn't that much, but it's something. But the important part is that while you're using it, you are completely immune to all damage and status effects that aren't unavoidable. So that's another thing. So yeah, those are the small crit tips I can help give you in terms of your skills. Other than that, it's always carry around dumplings with you. They are definitely great. They heal you up completely. And healing tonics just in case. So yeah, now with that out of the way, it's time for the endgame PvE section here, where if you look at my build, you're going to see things that are very common in pretty much every other build you're going to see on the internet. First, straight jab. It's going to be all the way down here because on a critical, it'll give you, instead of 1, it'll give you 2 focus, and it gives you a little critical bonus for this ability itself. So that's definitely the way to go. If you're going to tank, you're going to want to go down this way, where you heal up a little bit, increases your evade, and whenever you evade, you recover focus. Other than that, most people recommend grabbing Comet Strike just like I did in the earlier section, because this way it's only once every 45 seconds that you gotta worry about it, and it does quite a bit of damage. Other than that, what I would absolutely recommend is over here, putting these 6 points into Q and E. This is without a doubt the most important abilities I have picked up since I got to endgame, and as soon as I started using them, I can't imagine being without them. So what they do is, so let's take all of them. So right now, this is your Shadow Dance, so your Q. And usually, when you dodge something like this, you have to time it exactly so that the attack hits you as you're using the ability. So moving during the animation where you move right. However, if you start putting stuff into it, you will realize that suddenly, if you put 3 points, you will see this part right here. After using where is it? Here we go. This is the important part right here. Resist damage and status effects for up to 1 second after using the ability. As you can see, it only shows up with the third point. This is extremely important because that makes it so that instead of needing to have millisecond accuracy on using the ability versus the attack you're going to receive, you can use it a little bit early and still resist the attack. Now, the other important part is right here. When you dodge something, you gain agility for 24 seconds, and your movement speed is increased by 5%. Now, you gain... if you get 3 agility stacks, say you're fighting multiple mobs and you resist 3 other attacks, you gain Awaken for 6 seconds. And Awaken gives you 100% evasion for 6 seconds. That is extremely powerful. So if you alternate between both of these abilities and between your Flurry that also makes you resist everything, you can have, so this is 1.5 seconds, give or take. So that's 1.5 plus 6, that's 7.5 seconds. Add in 8, that's 9 seconds. 9 plus another 6 is 15 seconds. And then add in the Flurry. So if you time everything correctly against multiple mobs, you can receive no damage while you cycle through all 3 abilities. So yeah, this is exactly why you want to put these 6 points right there. This is especially useful against bosses like Pohoran that have a lot of AoE abilities or spin attacks or mobs. And yeah, that is definitely my #1 tip. Another one that I recommend is grabbing 1 point in second wind. You can invest more if you want, but it's just so that you can use it also against stun and daze. 1 more point will make it so that it also works on unconscious. But yeah, I only have 1 point there. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, obviously, once you get Searing Palm, you absolutely want to put it all the way 3 points here. The reason being that, as you can see right there, once you have 3 points into it, once you use the first ability, you're going to be able to cast it again within 10 seconds, as long as these conditions are met. This is why, during the PvE, during Endgame, you're going to want to raise your leg sweep 3 points so that it grabs Shin Kick. Now, Shin Kick has no cooldown, insistent, and does some decent damage. However, it can only be used on someone that is grabbed or phantom gripped or stunned or dazed. Usually, this is easy with a destroyer or a sword dancer or a force master. Whenever they grab someone with a phantom grip or regular grab, you're going to be able to spam this on them. Every time you use that, you're going to be able to use Searing Palm right after. If you use it 4 times in a row and hit somebody, you're going to enter Awakened state, which, as you can see, when awakened on the way at the bottom there, critical plus 50% and critical hit rate plus 100% and plus 10 focus instantly. So if you can land this every 45 seconds or so, this is definitely the most powerful. If you land all 4 of them, you will have 100% crit for the entire time, and you will more than likely steal aggro from the tank if you do enough damage. So that is your #1 buff. So other things you can do. Now, something you can do here is, instead of going with the healing on Grapple, which I used in order to not have to use as many potions or dump things usually, you can go over here for the Fighting Spirit buff. Now, as you can see, it gives a pretty great damage boost in terms of critical. So let's say you manage to land 4 Searing Palms and then you activate this, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. With my Cyclone Kick right here, I've done almost 6,000 damage on a crit thanks to that buff with another Kung Fu Master in the group. So yeah, speaking of Cyclone Kick, there's 2 ways you can, well, literally 3 ways. If you're playing a lot in a party, like say with someone that you have good communication with, and you can predict when they are going to grab somebody, you can abuse Searing Palm by going here. Every time this hits, it's going to decrease the Searing Palm by 5 seconds. And if you go back to Searing Palm here, you're going to see that it has a 1-minute cooldown. So if you do this enough times, where'd I go? Oh yeah. If you do this enough times, you can cast it every 20 seconds or so. Now, the other version is here. This will heal you for 20% of the damage as HP, and upon a critical, will recover 9 focus, and for each target hit, you will get another additional focus. This is great if you want to go as a tank. It deals very decent damage, relatively speaking, and it does damage in an AoE frontal cone. So this is great for tanking multiple mobs. However, I went with this one because it deals the most amount of damage, and this, because it's on F, it's got it's instant, no cooldown, doesn't cost anything. Well, it actually costs 2 focus, but anyway, you should have enough focus there. And you can use this after Shin Kick if your Searing Palm is on cooldown. Now, if you're like me and you use a macro form for your attacks, this happens all the time and it crits all the time. So yeah, so as I mentioned before, grab Shin Kick, absolutely, there's no reason not to. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, Swift Strike, you definitely want to grab this version over here. because as it says, upon critical hit, recovers consumed focus. Definitely good. You can also go with a stick. You can stick with Tiger Strike if you want to heal up a little bit. Just be advised that you will run out of focus a lot faster than with this one. And am I missing anything? Rising Dragon with 2 points to heal myself as my emergency heal. 6 there. I have 1 point left over here, so I invested it in a counter. And that adds that on a successful skill recovers 2 to 3 focus. This is especially useful when bosses have blockable AoE attacks and you block them. It's one way to get focus back. And also 3 into Flurry so that I can resist anything while it is going on. Definitely useful against bosses with AoE attacks. So yeah, that really is how simple it is to do a Kung Fu Master. So your main, your main ability rotation is keep left button mouse pressed to constantly use your straight jab. Use your number 2 as often as possible until you run out of focus, quite literally. And use F whenever it pops up. This is going to be either your Cyclone Kick or your Searing Blow. I highly recommend Cyclone Kick, honestly. And that is going to be your main rotation. Everything else is going to be on a as you needed basis. If you need a heal, you can use Rising Dragon. If it's something you can knock down, you can use Leg Sweep and then grapple it to heal up. Or if you have your buff, make sure somebody just grabbed it or the boss is going to be immobile for a few seconds so you can get the most out of it. And yeah, that really is it. Is there anything that stands out here? No, that really is it. So yeah, if you can afford these 6 points as you're leveling up, I highly recommend them. With this, you can take on 7 mobs at once and not take any damage if you time everything right, especially if they have all blockable attacks. So it really is that easy to play a Kung Fu Master. So now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go into the... oh yeah, into the dungeon because I still have some things to do. So anyway, thank you for watching. That was the Kung Fu Master quick guide for abilities and leveling up and endgame. And I will see you next time.